good stuff. But let's get into the moves, and who better to do that than Steph from the fight team? Stefan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. This is kind of day I live for. I can't wait to get into it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to see this hero because we've kind of like been dropping like little teases here and there, but we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. But before we get into the actual like fight styles and all that good stuff, if you could describe the new hero in 3 words, what would they be?
3 words, eh? I've already busted my limit here. It's got a counterattacking ability. It's got highly defensive ability. It's a sword master, and it's got good crackers, offensive crackers to open up an opponent. I know that's way beyond 3 words. I apologize. I've blown it already.
A lot more than 3 words, but I will take it because I do feel your excitement. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's kind of start off with talking about some of the general combat kind of moves that the Kyoshin will have, and what they'll look like.
Perfect. Let's start the video and we'll show the basics to start, and we'll get into the crazy stuff by the end. So here we go. Kyoshin, 2-hit chain character, basic heavy opener, light superior block opener, and you'll see undodgeable on the finishers. So we're going to run through a few of these. Shinobi tried to dodge and got wrecked there by the finisher.
Shame.
Exactly. Poor Shinobi after that TG, but should be all right.
Oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
And here we're going to see the scabbard melee within chain. So you have the ability to, as your second hit, do a melee move. You can follow with a free light, basically. Here's sprint heavy, which also goes into a chain. You unsheath your sword while running and slash out. And then you have all your chain options after that.
I love the combination of like a sword and scabbard because I mean I've seen a lot of samurai kind of use that fighting style because usually, you know, if you have a sword, that's like the main thing that you use, but using the actual like its holster for it is it adds a really interesting dynamic to the hero that I really appreciate as someone who enjoys like samurais and stuff like that. So
it's I mean I love that too. It's like that fantasy of like unsheathing it to like slash as you exit a sprint. That's super cool. And then we see it used as the melee in mid chain, and we also see it for defensive like blocks and parries and stuff like that. So it gets its use out.
Absolutely beautiful. All right, what do we have next here? We're going into dodge heavies. Let's talk about some dodge heavies.
Everyone needs some ability to either move forward and close distance, or kind of dodge sideways to get out of trouble, group fights and attacks and so on. So let's see what these look like. They also serve as chain openers, so you can go into your second hit or your scabbard hit from anything, basically. There you see it going into finishers, and I think we'll see it into the melee here. Yep, exactly. It's a bit basic, but it does a use. You're going to use it, I promise you.
Basic, but incredibly effective.
Yes. And then, of course, you start your pressure, so that's important too. Okay, so let's get a little crazier, eh?
Yeah, let's get into some of like the bread and butter kind of like combos. We're starting to get to the really sick stuff, but let's go ahead and talk about some dodge melees that the Kyoshin will have.
Gonna have to open up your opponent. This is a good way of doing it. Dodge forward kick is what we're about to see.
I love the animation on this. Like again, like I'm like a kid in the candy store right now, just watching these videos because I really appreciate this kind of like this like fighting style. So
I mean, it's smooth. That little arc of the foot is super cool. It goes into a light, and then you can chain from there. So as you see in that second one, it's a dodge forward kick, light, scabbard hit, light finisher. You're going to be using that to open people up, so yeah, enjoy.
It's great. So like yeah, let's now get to the down stance, which is this is a little this is quite special. When we were I saw it a little bit earlier, but I'm happy to Jesus, I want to hear you talk about it. See, I'm so excited I can't even talk. So please save me.
Okay, so here's where we get really cool. I mean, like that down stance, that twirl is sick. It goes into, you can choose a heavy, you can choose a light, or you can choose a zone as kind of an offensive poke. The heavy's unblockable. And you have the Fujin cuts if you land any of these attacks. And those are ultra anime hit, light, that are all free if you land your down sense heavy, down sense light, or down sense zone.
And it's also a really good way to kind of just confuse your opponent, because they don't know where, like, kind of where they're going to come with the side, they're going to come with the top. You know, it's one of those things that you can really use to kind of confuse your opponent, even for a split second. And, you know.
Exactly. Like the light comes from the right, the zone comes from the left, the heavy comes from the top. That'll be neat in group fights. And then, yeah, the other part you're getting at, I think, is like you kind of lock them in place a little bit with that light Fujin cut bit. So that's a good time for teammates to show up and give them a smack as well.
You know, it's definitely like a time waster, just a little bit, especially if you're on a point, you need like some extra some help. You know, that kind of little thing will just freeze. Like I said, even just for a brief moment will allow kind of really for you to take the advantage in that fight. So
so good to do.
Also, very, very anime-esque. I do appreciate it, but superior block time. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we talked about being defensive, so here we're going to show a variety of ways that you can superior block on this character. Let's check it out. We got superior block light on the openers from any of the three stances. The down stance is a superior block, which feeds into down stance heavy, down stance light, or down stance zone on block as well. And it gives you unblockable, and it's slightly faster as well in the case where you superior block.
Ooh, unfortunate.
Her poor back face is not happy there.
Yeah, I hate to see it.
And then here, this is Fujin Force. So basically, when you're allowed to do the Fujin cuts, you could do a Fujin Force, which is a heavy instead. It has superior block on all three directions. And so what you saw in those two videos there at the end, we'll loop back to it and we'll see it again. Means you can do down stance heavy, let's say you hit, you can Fujin Force and defend yourself from incoming attacks and hit somebody. Or you can do Fujin cut, Fujin Force, or you can do Fujin cut, Fujin Force. You can, basically if you're allowed to Fujin cut, you can Fujin Force. And it's super, I mean, I thought the Fujin cuts feel good to pull off, but this thing feels unbelievable when you do it.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I noticed that with the Fujin cuts, you're not necessarily locked into doing that entire kind of chain. You know, you can like feint out of it and kind of do other things, and again makes that move all that more dangerous, really. You know, because your opponent doesn't know whether you're going to follow through, or you're going to come with a superior block, anything like that. So it makes Kyoshin very versatile in fights.
Yes, it really limits how you can be interrupted. I mean, they can take a risk and throw a light or a heavy or something at you, but you might be able to not just wreck them with it, but like, you know, we'll see what's cool about superior block a bit later on as well. So there's options with this, which is really, you can master this character and you can really show your creativity and your stuff on this, and that's what I love.
So you're making me like we're like halfway through, and like I'm like I need to be a Kyoshin main. This is right up my alley. But let's go ahead and talk about down stance flow.
Yeah, this is just a neat little one we'll see here as the video begins. It's just a bunch of options to get you into your down stance a little bit quicker. From block, you can go to down stance. On your miss recoveries of chains, you can go into down stance, that kind of thing. So you'll find a couple ways where, I missed my attack. Actually, I can go to down stance the same way that like maybe BP's down stance can go, but it's not normal block, it's superior block. So it's going to give you a lot of good options in group fights.
Look at that combo chain, man. We're starting to get a little crazy with the combo chains. I'm bad at combo chains. For some reason, my hands just I can't do it. But let's dive a little bit deeper and let's talk about some of those. For the people that really want to learn Kyoshin and really start just dicing up their opponents into tiny little bite-sized chunks. Let's talk about some long combo strings. Let's talk about some options that our players will have once they get their hands on Kyoshin.
Yeah, Josh wasn't fooling. You're about to see like the string length here on what you can see. You can always access these from the advanced tactics in the training menu, so you can practice these on your own as well. A couple minutes. It looks intimidating when you first see it, but you realize, oh, actually it's dodge forward melee into guaranteed light, scabbard melee into guaranteed light, hold down stance and throw the heavy, either feinted or don't. And if it goes through, do Fujin cuts late. I know it sounds crazy, but like in minutes you'll be like flowing like water on this guy. So this Kyoshin is awesome to hold in your hands.
Yeah, it's crazy because when we released like Warmonger and Griffin, I would say like compared to Kyoshin, they were a little bit easier to kind of master or kind of get the hang of, or a lot quicker. But with Kyoshin, it's a lot more technical. There are a lot more things that you will have to learn in order to be efficient with them. You know, so this is
I'm looking forward to seeing that upper limit on where can people really show their group fighting power, their Faram moments and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to all this.
Yeah. Well, so like speaking of like group fights and stuff like that, would you say that like the character is good in group fights? Are they good for ganking? Are they good for like mid stuff like that? Like where would you kind of place Kyoshin at?
It's so as we kind of go into the feats, I mean, like you're going to see a lot of like you can stall as a defensive character, you can do work in a group fight, you can open people up quite well with a kick or continue pressure with the scabbard. If you need to survive the feats and your abilities are going to allow that, I'm really hoping to see like Kyoshin played one way by this really strong player, Kyoshin played that way by a really strong player, and everyone else kind of finding like their styles and maybe new rooms that we didn't think of. So I hope that answers the question, but I'm looking forward to a variety of answers on this one.
Your question just adds to the versatility factor of Kyoshin. So you answered perfectly. Congratulations, that was awesome. All right, feats time. I am not going to try to pronounce any of these except for like one. So let's talk about the first feat here.
Perfect, feat 1.
Yeah, we're going to call it feat 1 because I'm not saying that. I can't.
Japanese masters in the chat can help us out here, hopefully. But
yeah, if I'm getting flamed in chat right now, I am so sorry. I would rather not embarrass myself.
It's feat 1 through development, so yeah, sorry. Let's check it out. It gets crazy. So it's a passive feat 1. Whenever you superior block, which we saw was through down stance, through superior light openers, or through your Fujin force all block heavy after down stance. Activates 10 seconds of all your attacks have bleed from this point on. So that's good. You can poke, do a bit of bleed damage as you see here. And of course you can Fujin cut, which I thought we saw in the video, but my bad, maybe it's in the next video or the next part of this video. But you can do bleed with it, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome. 3 hits of bleed damage.
Always good.
Leaking. All right, feat 2. Whatever that's titled.
Feat 2, passive as well. When you superior block in any of the same ways, all your attacks will do healing on a hit, basically. So as
you're also doing bleed damage as well.
Exactly. So we're watching the Kyoshin find their way out of critical damage there by healing and also stacking bleeds up on the Highlander in front of them.
Getting absolutely wreckaroonied.
Yes, the turnaround is pretty cool. If you played the Visions of Kyoshin, you might remember that the power you get, the Wheel of Power thing from defeating the possessed Kyoshin, gives you very much the same or very similar abilities. So that Wheel of Power is it seemed like it was just fantasy, but it's back.
It is here. Feat 3. I think I can say this one. Hikari to Kage. I think that's what it is. I hope so.
Okay, here we go.
It's just like wrong.
Yeah, they're not impressed with us at this moment. That's for sure.
But I'm impressed with the feat, though. That's for sure.
Yes. So here there'll be times where you're like, actually, I wish I had the bleed and the heal, but I can't quite get to it. Like it's too risky. So you can actually use your feat 3 as an active feat that will launch both those abilities, which can help you heal out if you're super low and you're at the edge of a group fight and you want to just whack somebody and get some health back. That's totally possible. Setting up bleed, also possible. And then secret technique here for feat 1, 2, or 3. Whenever you superior block, basically it'll refresh, right? So you're going to see here, yeah, usually it's 10 seconds, but here the Kyoshin is like, no, I'm just going to superior block and superior block and superior block and refresh and refresh and refresh my feet. So if you're a master who can hold this thing somehow for the entire length of a Dominion without ever losing bleed or heal passive, I want to see that video. I wish you luck.
Absolutely. Tag us in it if you manage to be able to do it. But let's get on to Teat 4, which is actually Feat 4, which is my favorite one. I actually like this one. This one's really cool. Let's go ahead and talk about how this works.
Perfect. Tier 4. Basically, it sends up spikes up through any nearby enemies. And it holds them there, it does a bit of damage, and you can do an attack. So you can do like down stance heavy into your Fujin cuts and get a bunch of damage there. I think Max boosts it, but he gets to execute.
So quick, so nimble, so fast. This is actually a really good feat for again, ganking, group fights, stuff like that. And again, another thing that adds to the versatility of Kyoshin. And it's just, it can be used in so many ways, you know, especially if you combo it with like some of your other feats. It just makes the Kyoshin very dangerous in pretty much all aspects.
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's the kind of thing that I like to use when this is a fight you need to win, the big group fight. This is the time to use it. You can set things up with somebody to guarantee it, or you can do the opposite and try to pile on damage after. So try it out. You can use it for survivability, and you can combo if you've got, like, if you're near enough to do any hits, which benefit from tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 and so on. So try some stuff.
Absolutely. No, this Kyoshin looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm really excited for this hero to come out. Stefan, do you have any last words that you want to say? Like, what are some things you're looking for once players kind of get their hands on the Kyoshin?
For me, it's the creativity and the mastery aspect on this character, both in offense, in defense, in how you use those feats. I think we're going to see people play the Kyoshin in a couple of different ways. And then I'm really excited to see what does that mean for teaming the Kyoshin with other heroes. What kind of synergies are you going to find, and what kind of group styles are you going to do? It's going to be different, and that's what I love. So last thing I'll say real quick is big ups to Pikalix, the fight team, the gameplay team, Olaf Franer, who makes this happen, Olaf Franer, who's on other topics because they allow us to make this happen. So thanks to everybody. I know I get to have the fun on the Warriors Den, but it's you guys who make it happen. So thank you.
Absolutely. Hats off to the entire team. The Kyoshin looks super awesome. And Stefan, thank you so much for coming on and talking about all of these moves that I will probably never be able to do with Kyoshin because I'm bad at fighting games. But
you're going to style on people. I promise you.
I might try. I just might try. We'll see what happens. But Warriors, that is it for the hero reveal.